Um, there's a commercial on television that says something about military service. Now, without dishonoring those that have valiantly served in something, which I'm not quite sure how any of that works in the human world. I'm just from an alienation point of view, because I've been alienated from humanity. Black magic has been used against me, and dark magic from dark matter to hurt me. And it continuously seems to get worse, might I add. But looks like a paid for advertising, almost like mission statement of like what or how they'd like to be viewed in the public light, which I fully understand. But it says like we train for this. That's interesting, docudrama and public ad council, because I don't think at the critical level that the interstellar science is currently at, as it is interacting with interstitial plasma and science. In my one petal of New York on an artichoke, let's say, and I don't have the other petals defined on the same artichoke, but the whole machine of the artichoke is in some open vented system at the moment, which is what's causing the pressure differential on each of the petals. So there may be experience of something the humans call gravity, but at different gravitational forces, at different specific hot zones, for lack of a better, cold and hot zones, that are not necessarily able to pick up with the Coptic view eye. You need highly specialized, that's where that highly specialized, trained people are found in the military. Problem is, I'm just this one gal who's fettered, or was fettered, and chained to a person she was so happy to meet. She followed around like a little puppy dog, and whatever he said she was to do, she did, and she was greatly appreciative of the correction, since nobody, like, really was giving her instructions at home. Like, could you wear a skirt to school? Yes. I have a whole closet full of them. Is that what you'd like to see? Could I wear a headband? Yes. Yes, I can. I mean, like, simple things. And it was like, I just needed direction. So that happened. And somewhere between the Cold War of 1980 something, that the television and the radio, those words, cold and war, were a big seven. It's like cold, COLD, and war, WAR, were a big sound system in my being held in this whatever, while there was a lot of Cold War going on and speaking and knowing things. I was in the blind over here. I was deaf in the sense of I heard the word Cold War. I did not know anybody involved in it, and I did not know what the war was over or what they were talking about. So it makes it difficult to formulate an opinion, a judgment, a strategy, a protection unit, whatever, while being held captive away from my Fettered when he arrived, because he was apparently, I don't know, is he considered motorcade important? Because I believe he's motorcade important. I just don't know what part of motorcade or what qualifies as motorcade. For myself, I was in Ghost Town Security, where apparently you're just like in quarantine of some sort. So, and everybody else holds the fort walls up with their specialness in private, whatever, or however that works. For someone's motorcade that you're part of or was somebody else's, but it fit into the upper and lower gamma that you are currently involved in. So I hear now on this television, there's the real, what they call the real news, but the real news is the current events are mixed in with some drama news. And it's, unless there's like real footage, and even when there's real footage, unless the real people speak on real footage, it's hard to tell. There's really no purpose for it. So it's kind of like you go between trauma and drama, and I'm teetering always between the two, trying to figure out and cipher what's real as it pertains to what I've experienced and how to build construct around it and working theorem. Then there's this thing I heard on one of the drama shows, the make-believe shows, but where they talk to an audience, and apparently they have like a system in their dressing room that they go through before they come out fully dressed. They were saying something about, and I don't know which program I heard this, something about there was some kind of agreement on a calendar, and so, like, I don't know if they wrote laws on this stuff. Like, how do you even, as a human or a person inside this, who do I verify it with? How do I protect myself from those that are working strategies and lawmaking and policy making around me without asking for my participation? Like, that's where I'm at the moment, because I am fettered within a celestial system, and they broke that fetter. And not only did they break the fetter to install some really shitty strings to attach to all the wrong things in this new system that they have me stuck in, but when they restrung up whatever they did, instead of fixing the chain, they strung it up with some laws and policy and whatnot around a faulty timing and calendar system. And I have no way of verifying or vetting what was involved in them writing these laws or this policy. Nobody asked but on the anatomy. So now my anatomy was squeezed through glass. There's people, my fettered chain was broken. So now they strung a string with a Jason and some FM, AM, whatever, for one line of, I guess, defense or whatever. And then there was something about a Y2K the humans made up. No idea what that was about in actuality. And what's behind the scenes, I have no idea. I just know it happens a time in with Benjamin being born out of the womb, rolling into the next New Year's Eve, from New Year's Eve to New Year's Day, in a clock system that was broken, and the humans admitted was broken. And then just nothing getting fixed, everything getting worse and more dangerous. until finally I roll into a Rocky Horror Picture Show with a man that it looks like whatever on the front end of Facebook, but in the back end, it's like nobody wants to go home. I have kids I gotta take care of, but what's at home, I don't want to be around or near. So that was whatever. So that happened. And then I've got, and that rolls around something where another child arrives through Condor Express of spontaneous reproduction. And then there's, I don't know what else at this point. There's a Mayan calendar. They said something about a long and a short term. I don't know. I don't know if that's to count from Y2K to when the last arrived. But he has a cat scratch of 3. I'm in a police precinct of 3. So these are these quantum strings that are that are whacked out, I call it. WHACKED. Because it's holding laws and policy in place that everybody claims that they need with this flag over here or this unity symbol. But I don't know who they're whacked to or like strung with and how that all came about when I didn't want my chain to be broken to happily fettered after and was in front of the boy I was supposed to marry, who grew into a man without me, and who grew into a teenager without me, while I'm in some impairment. IMPAIRMENT. I don't want to be impaired. I want to be repaired and go back to fettered chain. I never wanted the chain to be broken, not of command, not of protocol, not of anything. If I could have chained myself like literally to him so he didn't leave motorcade without me and left me here because there were other things involved, I would have happily left Linda and Lou behind and just flown off to wherever motorcade exists and never come back. Never would have asked questions, never would have come back, it would have been fine. But instead, I got stuck with whacked out strings that got pulled for all the wrong reasons and tied me up in some kind of like disgustingness that now there's interstellar and interstitial being my one anatomy. Vortex and Vernex got pulled in, Vortex got pulled in, Vex got pulled in, Vector. Everything seems to be off in my ability to keep myself healthy at healthcare. Forget medical. I'm talking, I mean, there's a layover in linguistic there, but I don't even know how to properly speak, so I'm not. But I hear these things on the TV, like they pass these laws and policies. Where and how do you check them? It's not like they mail through the federal mail system a copy of what they're passing, or through the U.S. postal system. We don't get copies of whatever it is that they're deciding and writing in this system that they've created here. I mean, like, I don't know how to hold their safety and security, like, uber important. But, like, I'm at the part of, like, the military and, like, the whatever. Like, this is the part where, like, real life, like, where you can't prepare for this. This is, like, in action. I'm in the trauma unit. I'm in action. And I can't get to figure out, because I've never been handed pieces that fit together that make any kind of sense. Or that stay long enough to be considered, like, I don't know. I mean, this is not hand-to-hand combat out that door. thank God. But it is an interstellar to interstitial combat zone every time I walk out the door. But my eyes can't see it. My body's starting to feel the mechanical breakdown of it. And I'm trying to document it all for my whatever. But I don't know how to rise above the whacked out string pulling that's gone on and resecure the chain to Fettered that I need. And I'm pretty sure, based on the fact that my anatomical and atomic and biological clock is set to some kind of local understanding and acknowledgement in calendar and clock, and how they have anchors in space and time that they all created for themselves in this off mark. I mean, this is like nuclear fusion, like AEROFORCE, precision. There usually is instrumentation involved. What do you call your human instrument when she's an atomic and biological clock and somebody took her and then created a system where they don't want to let her go and they won't let her function as she was intended? And they overwrote her story with some manifestation and some manifesto in destiny that was never hers. I have pictures, by the way. I know I now have cuts on my face. This is 2021. Around 2016, I have pictures as well. I was with Alex, so you could see the age difference, because my age difference is not as easy to tell. But with the Alexander the Great and with the Mayan calendar baby, Anthony III, you can see the growth of him in human biological clock timing. And so when I have a wound, it is easier to tell and time with when the anatomically correct child was with me in that scene, let's call it, when I was stuck in the field, which is where I am now. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. Its Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken.